Good morning. Welcome to our Talks to Anthony. Today we're going to have a type of conversation. For those that are new to the channel, it will be mental health conversation content that's going to be beneficial to your personal development in addition to your well-being. However, in today's conversation, we're going to be talking about behavioral and emotional disorders in children, recognizing and supporting early intervention. So I want to be able to provide some, identifying behavioral and emotional disorders in children, emphasizing that strategies to improve mental health and developmental outcomes, right? So the earlier that we assess these things, the more time that we're able to really be intentional about these babies, our children, right? In earlier stages, right? We're able to kind of catch and identify what's going on for that mental health and developmental support, right? So when it comes to some brief research, I want to be able to talk about early identification on those behavioral and emotional disorders significantly improves long-term outcomes from the APA, and then from the National Institute of Mental Health mentions in research, supportive interventions in childhood reduces stress, improves social skills, and enhances academic performance, right? So like I said, not every challenge is a phase, so some need that support to help children thrive, right? So we got to be able to identify things early on to be able to help the children be able to navigate in their lives and be able to thrive on that aspect, right? So let's dive into this video. Stick with me so we're able to grow more, right? So first segment, we're going to be talking about common behavioral and emotional disorders, right? So first key concept, we're going to be talking about attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder, so ADHD. Difficulty focusing, impulsivity, and hyperactivity, right? We also have anxiety disorders, so excessive worry, fear, and avoidance in regards to affecting their daily life, right? So this is what's common at its earlier stages. We also have depression, so persistent sadness, irritability, and loss of interest in activities. Oppositional deficit disorder in regards to ODD, frequent defiance in regards to tantrum outbursts, and you have rule breaking. So this is all common behaviors in regards to emotional disorders at these earlier stages. There's other disorders that are also tied to this as well, such as mood disorders, learning-related emotional challenges, and trauma-related conditions as well. So there's different factors that play into one's emotional disorder in addition to the common behavior. Moving forward in regards to our next segment, let's talk about signs to watch for, right? So first key concept off rip is going to be those behaviors in regards to those changes, right? So sudden aggression, frequent tantrums, or deviance beyond typical development, right? So things that are kind of unusual in regards to those behaviors. You want to be able to watch out for those signs. We also have emotional patterns as well. So taking consideration of someone's mood, right? So persistent sadness in regards to excessive worry or fear, right? You really want to tap in with the child to really see what's really going on. But these are behaviors and emotional patterns that are being illustrated. We also have social difficulties such as trouble making friends, peer, conflict in regards to withdrawal as well. So the isolation, academic struggles as well. So, those out there at the school, we're talking about, declining performance in regards to, wanting to be able to do the academic work, or even difficulty concentrating. So like the focus is causing, that academic struggle. Physical symptoms, headaches, we have stomach aches, we also have sleep problems as well. That's linked to stress, right? So when your body's not getting adequate enough rest, you're gonna feel out of order. So these are some signs to be able to look out for, right, in early intervention in regards to the child. Moving forward, we also have in regards to the next segment is importance of early intervention, right? So why are we doing this? Let's dive into, like I said, that first concept in regards to brain development, right? So early supports, promotes that healthy cognitive, right, the brain, emotional and social growth, right? So by this stage is very crucial because it allows the child to be able to, be able to navigate in regards to their brain development, right? So next is going to be prevent of escalation, right? So addressing these challenges early on reduces the risk of, future mental illnesses and other issues coming up, right? So it's very important for us to take in consideration, for the children, this is your baby, Like, you gotta be on point, Next is gonna be that improve academic and social outcomes, right? So interventions help children succeed in school and those relationships as well. So this is gonna help them be able to thrive. And obviously, if they have to be at school and learn, interact, interfere, and retain information, these are things that are affecting their brain, and for them to be able to utilize that. So we have to be able to take in consideration that these things are important and also affect the future outcomes as well, right? How can we sit here and neglect someone's needs, right? And then expect them to be able to be this bright, picture that's, all well put together type of thing. So we got to be able to take consideration that we need to be here for our children. We got to be here for these developmental stages, right? And obviously off rip, the earlier stages are very important, right? We got to take in consideration of the child neighborhood, right? What's around the environment, etc., and the resources that we're providing for our child in early intervention at this stage is very important. Moving forward, we're going to be talking about strength-based approaches, right? So focusing on skills and strengths that are, fosters that resilience, right? So look at things that are working. For instance, y'all know the analogy is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So if you're seeing strengths in regards to that child, they like something's going good for them, utilize that strength approach to be able to help get successful outcomes. Moving forward to our next segment, we're going to be talking about strategies to support children. Let's talk about consistent routines, right? So predictable schedules, reduce that stress, right? So when we have that consistency, the child knows what's going on, right? So this improves that emotional regulation. So they ain't tripping in the morning. So when they know what's going on, or whatever the appointment is, etc., when you have consistency, it helps. Moving forward, we're going to be talking about that positive reinforcement, right? So encourage them, right? It's the child, right? So you got to be able to give them those affirmations, let them know that, these are desired behaviors rather than focusing only on their mistakes, right? So we all been there, right? And even for some people that's coming from dysfunctional families, right? So, dealing with, you only get recognition when you get in trouble, right? And it's sad because even some families even praise you for getting in fights and getting in the mix at school, etc. But we really got to take consideration of positive reinforcement. We want our kids and our, to navigate to getting where they need to be and being successful, etc. Right? We have to be role modeling on a positive note. So taking consideration of what the things that you say, the power of the tongue, right? So we either can use our tongue to either cause destruction and cause harm, and sabotage in that sense, or we can use it to lift ourselves up and pour glory over ourselves and our lives, right? So let's use positive reinforcement to encourage desired behaviors, especially for our children. Let's be real. And moving forward, we're going to be talking about that open communication, right? So we want to listen, we really want to validate their feelings, right? And teach coping strategies to our children, right? So these things are really beneficial, specifically at earlier years, so they're able to navigate when things get rougher in life, right? As adults, you guys have those abilities. You got to navigate through in that sense. However, we got to take consideration that kids they need to develop, they need to figure things out, and they need that support. So we can help provide that wisdom, provide that positive role modeling and those reinforcements. Things could be much better for our children. Moving forward, we're going to be talking about collaboration with professionals, right? So taking consideration of those, counselors, therapists, educators that provide that guidance, right? So seek the support, seek the references and resources, rather, right? To provide our children with the support and strategies as well. Next, we're going to be talking about skill building, right? So our children, we got to take consideration that they need socialization skills. They need to be able to interact. Someday they're going to want to get a job. They got to be able to thrive and hold themselves down, right? We got to hold our people accountable. We got to hold our children accountable, right? As they're growing, right? So these things need to be learned. So these are skill building. So we have social, we have emotional, we have problem solving skills, right? To be able to strengthen that resilience. Like I said, life's not Candyland, right? So we're going to have problems. They're going to have their own individual problems that they're going to have to navigate, right? So as early as possible, we're able to teach them, right, and support them with that guidance. This is going to be able to help them with that emotional regulation, in addition to that resilience as they navigate through their life. So, right, so strategies are very important. Moving forward, we're going to be talking about support families and caregivers, right? So education in regards to children, we got to take that into consideration that it matters, right? So giving them that knowledge, that understanding that helps the disorder, helps, caregivers respond effectively, right? So it's really important for, those keep saying references, but the resources, right, and those supports to be able to help us out. And education matters. Next is going to be that self-care for caregivers, right? So maintaining emotional, balancing improves one's child's environment, right? So those out there that are taking care of your children, you got to be able to take care of yourself in order for you to take care of others, but you got to find that fine balance and make sure that you're doing your self-care regimen for yourself. Next, like I said, is that community resources, right? So support groups, school programs to be able to reduce that social isolation, right? So there's after school programs, and there's different, programs to be able to help, children be able to get that community aspect and those resources as well. And then consistency and patience with yourself. You got to take consideration that long-term, steady support enhances those outcomes, right? So look out to those resources, look out towards, your self-care, and, seek education so you're able to have proactive information to help yourself navigate moving forward, right? So wrapping up this video, coming to a close, helping children thrive, really got to take into consideration that, children are not supposed to know everything, right? That's why it's important for us to really take in consideration that we have the adequate information, the support, et cetera, so that our children are able to be in a supportive environment for they're able to thrive, right? So recognizing challenges in regards to early development, and providing, consistent support gives children the best chance to grow, learn, and in addition to, flourish. So I want to provide some research before we wrap up, but early intervention is structured support, improving the mental health, emotional and social well-being for children, and according to the APA, National Institute of Mental Health, in addition to the CDC. So we got to take in consideration of the schools, families, and community centers. Right? They play a significant role into fostering, that resilience. What is that say? They usually say is that it takes a village to raise a child, right? So we got to take in consideration that we can't do it alone, right? I know we're great people. We do the best that we can. Don't get it twisted. But we also got to take in consideration that there is help, there is support, and when we utilize it, our children are able to, like I said, flourish. So if you found this video beneficial, give it a thumbs up, share if possible, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.